Hi, are you looking for a beef stew recipe for your Instant Pot? My beef stew, I've been making it for years. I've converted it to the Instant Pot and it's even better. This meat is tender, the vegetables cook perfectly. You're gonna love this one. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Don't forget to ring the little bell for notifications of new episodes that we post with great, quick recipes for busy lifestyles. For this beef stew recipe, you will need about 1 pound or 2 stew meat, bouillon of some sort, whether that's a base or a stock or broth, canned or boxed. I like to use carrots and potatoes. We'll need tomato sauce, and that's it. Flour, about a 1/2 cup or so of flour to coat your beef. Okay, so for this recipe, I've cut my beef down to more of a bite size because the beef comes usually really large, and in a stew that you're eating like a soup, you want those bites to be smaller, more enjoyable to eat, not feel like you have to cut it up. So I've cut that up smaller than it comes, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a pinch of salt. Then we are going to coat our beef, and I'm just gonna do it right here on my cutting board. If you don't have flour on hand, because if you're doing this last minute and you don't have everything on hand, a lot of these parts of the recipe you can leave out. You can just sear the meat without coating it in flour, but it does give it a better texture and it keeps it a little bit more moist. So I suggest coating it in flour if you have it on hand. See, this doesn't have to be a messy, big ordeal that takes up tons of dishes to clean. I'm doing this right on my mat. I'm not having to put it in a bag, shake it around, just throw it on there. So you'll go to your Saute and hit enter to select it. Once you hit enter, it's going to go on to a time. We don't need to worry about the time. Scroll down and select medium, and then hit start. That's gonna warm up. I'm gonna put just about a tablespoon of oil in there, and then I'm gonna saute my beef just till it's browned on all sides, not cooked through. Okay, and now my oil's starting to give me the little sounds. So I'm gonna get the meat in there on this while it's on saute. So we're just looking for just browning the sides. You will see that it sticks a little bit on the bottom of your inner pot, but that is okay. We're gonna use the broth to kind of deglaze that and bring up all those sticky bits. You do need to do that so you don't get that burn signal. The Instant Pot will give you a burn signal if it thinks things are stuck to the bottom. Cook the meat. We're gonna saute the meat just until it's browned on all sides. We're not gonna cook it all the way through. And the little burnt kind of sticky bits, we will scrape that up by deglazing the pot with the broth. Then I'm gonna hit cancel once my meat's browned. I personally like to use the kind of base bouillon, but a stock is fine too, a pre-made broth. It's just as well. If you're using a base, I would throw in a good solid 2 tablespoons, which I'm gonna dissolve in pre-warmed water so that it just goes in nice and even. If you're using the boxed broth, you don't want to dilute with water. If you're using the base, you're gonna add about 8 cups of water. But if I were using the box, I would be just pouring that directly straight in. So I'm gonna add my beef stock. Go ahead and add, I'm gonna do 8 cups of water because I wanna go ahead and get this pretty filled. Gosh. Pour it in faster than that. Oh, it's a mess. Okay, now I'm gonna use my spoon to feel those bits that are kind of stuck on the bottom, and I'm just gonna stir it until that bottom feels smooth while the pot's still warm. Okay, once you don't feel any of the burnt bits on the bottom of your inner pot, then you're good to go. We've got our water and our beef stock in there. I'm gonna add our carrots. Use as many as you like. Just don't make them super big bites because again, think of, you're kind of eating a soup. You don't wanna have bites that you would feel like you need to cut. But these carrots are gonna be super soft, tender. Yum. And we're gonna add a couple of cups, maybe of potatoes. Again, however much you have or however many you like. Just make sure that they are cut or chopped to a size that's enjoyable to take a bite with a spoon. Don't make it huge chunks of potatoes. And pour those right on in with those carrots. You do not need to go through all the stress of measuring out your potatoes and carrots. I've probably about equivalent of 3 potatoes in there of the large ones. That's maybe a cup or 2. I like about equal amounts of the potatoes to the carrots. So now that's all in there. I'm going to add a can of tomato sauce. Give it a nice stir. Okay, once everything's in, this is your dump and go. You just get it on. And we are gonna go to the meat stew setting. Where is it? There it is. The meat stew, hit enter. And then it's gonna flash 35, that's the default, that's what I do it at. Make sure it's on high, which it says, so 35 minutes on high, and you hit start, and that's it. It's gonna take about 10 minutes to come to pressure. It's gonna pressurize and cook for 35 minutes. Oh, also, make sure you're on sealing, not venting, like mine just was. So always make sure that you're on sealing when you're doing this setting. So we'll have dinner here in about 45, 50 minutes. I'm gonna let it do its thing and check back with y'all in just a minute. All done. Everything is perfect. The meat is so tender. The potatoes, look at that, I can just cut it. The potatoes and the carrots are cooked perfectly. Look how tender that is. So, this is one of the fastest, most delicious beef stew recipes you're gonna find for your Instant Pot. Go make it tonight, enjoy. Let us know in the comments below if you make it. And thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time.